Hello and welcome to another episode of Ozsports Insider, where we bring you all the latest information from behind the scenes of all the big sporting events from throughout the week. So Andrew, we're going to start off with some netball, some exciting news for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, sure is, Patrick. 13 wins on the trot have helped the Thunderbirds claim their second ANZ Championship title in Adelaide on the weekend. Unbelievable stuff. There was a sellout crowd at the entertainment centre, and boy did the girls perform. They played excellently, and the Firebirds were not an easy win. They'd been great all season. They were the giant killers, everyone was calling them, leading up to the final. So to actually win by 2 goals, I think it was in the end, was an unbelievable effort from the Thunderbirds.
Well, Firebirds came from 4th, I think, so they were bottom in the ranked out of the finalists.
Yep.
So it was a good effort to get to the final, and with Aikens in the goal shooter's position, it's obviously a formidable lineup. But good for the Thunderbirds to get a win. So
well, it sure was. I think the 2 games during the season between the Thunderbirds and the Firebirds actually was only 3 goals difference between them in the 2 results. So it certainly was going to be a close one leading up to it. But I think the class of Von Berto, Aaron Bell, Renee Hallinan was just too good, I think, for the Thunderbirds in the end, and the home crowd really got behind them.
Yeah, I think obviously you mentioned the crowd. I reckon that would have helped a lot, and they mentioned it in their first final against the Vixens. They said the crowd really helped, and and obviously, as you said, with the likes of Von Berto and all that have been around for a while and played lots of tests for Australia as well. So they can deal with that pressure and soak it up. And
well, I think something that was good to see was that obviously the Thunderbirds are the only South Australian netball team that we have, and it's very unlike any other sport, I guess, other than cricket, because we really only have one team to support. So there's not that sort of rivalry like we see in AFL. You get a whole crowd there of about 10,000 that are all barracking for the same team. It's certainly excellent because everyone sort of gets around them.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, for sure.
No worries. Well, great to see the Thunderbirds get a win there in the ANZ Championship. But moving on to something else now, Patrick, that's been in the news lately. The first test of the Ashes has wound up, and certainly wasn't shy of controversy because the DRS system has got a hammering over the past couple of days after a few controversial decisions.
Yeah, just to say the least.
Yep.
Yeah, the DRS has been brought in to get rid of that howler, and then when you have an incident like the Stuart Broad wicket in the second innings, and the fact that it was at a crucial point in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
That wicket, and we only lost by 14 runs, and I think Broad went on to make an extra 20 or something on top of that. So that's pretty much the difference of the game right there.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And that's what that's what the DRS was brought in to try and get rid of. So to have something like that happen, I think it's sort of, you have to look at the DRS system there. What's the point?
It sort of brings the question, do you think it should sort of be changed? Because, I mean, each team is allowed 2 unsuccessful DRSs, so they can challenge twice, and if it's unsuccessful, they lose both of them. Do you think maybe, this is what I was sort of thinking, is maybe if something like that happens with Stuart Broad, regardless of how many reviews are left, what's stopping the third umpire from having a look at it, seeing that he's absolutely hammered the ball into Brad Haddon's gloves and caught it first slip? What's stopping the third umpire from saying, look, Alan Dar, you've got that decision wrong, and rightfully so, Stuart Broad should be out? I mean, do you think that's a sort of avenue they could sort of take?
I think so. I think it'd be almost better if the 2 reviews for each side were just scrapped and it was just up to the third umpire. The third umpire thought that he needed to review it and thought, okay, he's clearly got a tree on that.
Yep.
We better just double check that and try and override the decision. I think that's probably more the way it should go, personally.
Yeah, well, regardless of the DRS, there's still some good signs from Australia in that first test. One, Ashton Agarth, the young 19-year-old, I think everyone's favourite player at the moment. Yeah. After his first innings, heroics of 98, I mean, almost got there. He holds the record amount of runs for a number 11 batsman. Certainly looks a promising aspect for the future.
Definitely a bit of a surprise selection last Wednesday when they took him out ahead of Nathan Lyon, but he showed that he's up to the task. He took a couple of wickets in the second innings. He looked a little bit nervous on the first day bowling. Only bowled the 7 overs and got hit a little bit, which is obviously to be
understandable. Yep.
Bit of nerves, but to come out and make 98 and get the Aussies the first innings lead with Phil Hughes was amazing and really good. And it's very refreshing that you could see he was really enjoying what he was doing. He was always having a smile.
He was, He really enjoyed being out there.
Yeah, I think it's nice and refreshing, especially seeing that Australia Australian cricket's just gone through such a tense period.
Yep.
I think they need something like that, and someone like that to come in and just sort of relax the team a little bit.
Well, I think he certainly cemented his spot in the 11 for the next couple of tests. Someone that probably hasn't, Ed Cowan. He's in a bit of trouble, I think, at the moment after failing in both innings. A lot of talk has been around him and whether he'll possibly be included for the second test at Lords. Also, his fielding wasn't quite up to scratch. I noticed a few of the times in the second innings, a few easy balls maybe went past him. So I think maybe a bit of the pressure's getting to him there, and I certainly don't think he'll be in the team come the next test. What do you reckon?
No, I think Cohen will be an omission from the side for the second test. I think he, as you say, there was the shots that he got out on in both first and second innings at crucial points as well.
Yeah.
In the first innings, he just needed to come out. They had 20 overs to bat at the end of the first day after the bowlers had bowled really well to roll the Poms for 215. He just needed to come out, consolidate. They just lost a wicket. First ball, he tries to slash at one wide outside off stump and gets caught at first. So it's certainly
unlike him as well. So
yeah, well that's it. So I think, unfortunately for him, I think he might give way for maybe Usman Khawaja in the second dig, seeing that David Warner's just flown over to Africa for the Australia A series. But and he was on and off the field. I think he was a bit crook in the first innings. So yeah, but. Unfortunate for Ed Cohen.
Exactly. Yeah, well, the second test is in Lords on Thursday night. Now, how do you think the Aussies are going to go? Can they rebound and maybe snatch the second test from the English?
I think they can. I think Australia's got a very good record at Lords. I was reading somewhere that they've only lost once or twice in the past 80 years at Lords. So they've got a good record there, and I think if the batsman can make some runs, I think Clark needs to return to number 5 and get Usman Khawaja in there at 4, maybe put Phil Hughes back up to number 3, just consolidate that middle order there a little bit and have a bit of consistency, and hopefully they can put some runs on the board. And our bowlers are bowling really well. I think Mitchell Stark might be unlucky and get the axe for this test as well, and we might see young Jackson Bird come in and get his first Ashes crack, so that'll be good to see. So I think we've got the bowling line up there, but I think we just need to put the runs on the board, and if we can get the runs on the board, I reckon we're a big chance of winning the second test. Yeah,
I certainly agree, and let's hope that goes to plan, and we can, because it will certainly set the series alight and make it a lot more interesting, I think, for the Aussie fans. But something else that's happened the last couple of weeks, Patrick, is the Tour de France. Now, it hasn't quite received as much attention as the week before because of the Ashes, but it's still ticking along quite nicely. Now, Orica Green Edge haven't been as dominating as they were in the first week, but one man that is Chris Froome at the moment. He looks unstoppable.
Oh, he's an absolute freak. He's led the race now for the last almost week. I think we were talking about last week. He was in the yellow jersey for the first time when we broadcast last week, and he's still in the yellow jersey today. He had an amazing ride on Sunday night, our time, where he smashed the mountain stage there and it just blew everyone away. And it just goes to show, we were talking about there was a little bit of uncertainty about him and his Sky teammates, but he's definitely blown that out of the water. And it's funny because there's some talk that there might be a little bit of drugs maybe involved, but I think he's just such a good rider.
We certainly hope not, I guess, nowadays with everything that's happened with Lance Armstrong. But one man that is impressing is only the young fella, Nairo Quintana from Colombia. He certainly looks the goods at the moment. He's a very strong rider. We saw him up in the mountains the other day, came second in one of the stages behind Chris Froome, and certainly showed the courage of about a 28, 29-year-old. Yeah, he's only about 23 years of age, I believe. So he certainly looks like a star of the future.
Definitely. He's riding his first Tour de France, and he showed he was in a breakaway earlier on in the tour. He broke away there, and he was caught unfortunately towards the end. But he's had an amazing series, and I think he's definitely one to watch for the future. I wouldn't be surprised if he even won the tour further down the track. So he's definitely a name to keep an eye out for. But we've also got Alberto Contador sitting in third. So I guess we talk about Chris Froome leading the race, but when you've got someone like Contador sitting third,
can never sit comfortably. Yep.
No, that's it. And with a few big mountain stages to come, like the Alpe d'Huez, the big mountain stage.
Yep.
I think you can't count him out either because he's an amazing mountain climber. We saw a couple of years ago him and Andy Schleck have that massive battle on Alpe d'Huez. That was
brilliant.
Some of the best cycling I've ever seen. So so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Well, a bit further down, in 16th place, it's Australian Cadel Evans. Now, unfortunately, not going as well as he would have liked, and same with Australia, unfortunately. But do you think he's still a chance? I mean, it's getting tough for him now. Sits about 16 minutes behind Chris Froome. So I think it might be getting to that stage where it's a bit too far to maybe catch up now. Do you think he's any chance of making up the ground?
I'd like to say yes, but I don't think he is. I think he's
it's a bit too far. I think. Yep.
Yeah, he had a good Giro d'Italia.
Yep.
And I think that
maybe took it out of him.
A little bit.
Yep.
And I don't think he's had quite the team that he's had the last couple of years at BMC. TJ Van Garderen hasn't had as good a race as he had last year.
Yep.
I think he's had a good form coming up into this, and maybe he's a bit the same as Cadell. He's a bit worn out by now. But
well, that's the thing. I think for a person to win the Tour de France, you really do need a strong team behind you, and we've seen it the last couple of years with Sky. I think this year again they're unbelievably strong. Around Chris Froome, we saw Richie Porte the other night. Unbelievable how strong that man is. I think in the coming few years he could definitely win the Tour as well himself. So certainly the team does help, and unfortunately Cadell, I don't think this is his year.
No, unfortunately not. And he's such a good rider. Obviously, we knew he won the Tour back in 2011, and it'd be good to see him do it again. But I think he might almost be done. I think so. He's definitely, I reckon, out of contention for this one. But well,
yeah, well, time will tell.
Yeah, that's it. But Michael Rogers is doing all right in 12th as well. He's only 10 minutes or thereabouts off the pace.
Yep.
So he's been up there helping out his old mate Alberto Contador. So for Saxo ticking off. So. Yeah, but we'll have to wait and see. So that'll wrap up on Saturday, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see how that finishes. So we're now joined by the event manager for the City Debate Fun Run, Katie. Katie, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the City Debate. It obviously starts on September 15th, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And can you tell us a little bit more details about the actual event?
Yeah, so we offer a 12, 6 or 3K event, so you can run, walk or there's wheelchair as well. There's 12 weeks worth of training workshops we offer as well leading up to the event, and it's just more of a fun run event, so it's not as competitive. There are competitive titles, but most people use it as a way to better their time every year because they do have a timing device on their race number.
Yep.
And there's entertainment all along the route. There's 3 village sites at the finish line. So it's a fun day for families and elite athletes as well.
Oh, nice. And how many people, is there a certain number of people you're expecting to get for this year, and how many have you had in the past?
Yeah, so in 2011 we had around 34,000. Last year was our 40th anniversary, so we were aiming for 40,000, but we ended up with 39,003. So this year we're hoping to crack the 40,000 with about 42.
Yep. And is it just adults that can get involved, or can kids get involved as well?
No, anyone can get involved. The great thing about this year as well is under 16s are half price, so they're down to $15 because we're more of a community event and things are just getting quite expensive for the modern day family now. So, but all ages are more than welcome. We had a 90-year-old do it last year, so no one really has no excuse to get involved.
Yeah. And you said there was entertainment along the race. What kind of entertainment is there?
So we have drummers, we have a wind ensemble, we have all different kinds. We have school bands, so it's more just a way to keep people moving, and cheerleaders for encouragement. So there's all different types of entertainment along the route. Yeah.
Brilliant. And is there any price involved with? Obviously, there's a little bit of money involved. What's the?
So at the moment, it's $40 for an entry for an adult, 35 concession, and 15 for an under 16. Or if you're part of a school, it's also 15. We also have the carers option. So if you have any form of disability, you get a free carer as well. Up until July 31, we're posting the numbers out for free this year, and then after that, we're holding an event expo. So there's the option for $5 postage, or you can come to our event expo for the first time and collect your number for free.
Cool. And where can the people sign up for this, for entering City Debate?
You can come into our office, which is open 9 to 5. We generally ask you to call first because there's not many of us who run the event. So if we're out at a meeting like right now, there might not be anyone in the office. There's also the hard copy entry forms, which you can always apply for and we can post out. There's a lot available at their gyms as well, but the main one is online, so citybay.org.au.
Awesome. All right, Kate, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us.
David Fitzsimons, dual Olympian and 8-time Australian champion, was only 58 when cancer took his life. To honour the memory of this South Australian sporting great, Athletics SA and the Royal Adelaide Hospital Research Fund bring you this year's Fitzy's 5 Fun Run. Join us on Sunday the 4th of August for a 5-kilometre run or walk around the streets of Adelaide to raise money for cancer research. Enter online at fitzys5.com.au. Fitzy's 5, honour a legend, seek a cure.
Plenty of sport here on OzsportsInsider, but if there's anything you've missed, Patrick's got it covered here on Sporty's headline wrap-up of the week.
Thanks, Andrew, and welcome to this week's Sporties Weekly Headline Wrap-Up. So our first headline this week is Hewitt cops a serve. So Leighton Hewitt lost in the final of the Hall of Fame Tennis Championship at Rhode Island over the weekend, going down 7-5, 5-7, 3-6 to Frenchman Nicolas Mahut, who's famously known for that marathon Wimbledon game 3 years ago where he went down 70-68 in the fifth set to American John Isner. So after the game, Hewitt blamed a lack of time off and a tough draw as the reasons why he lost. And American Michael Russell got to Facebook and called Hewitt a douchebag and a racist, and saying that how about he stops making excuses and just admitted that he choked. And so Leighton Hewitt is yet to respond, but it'll be interesting to see how he comes back to that. Gambier begins the Reds. New Adelaide United coach Joseph Gambier has had his first training with Adelaide United during the week. So he said that he's going to bring some of the styles that's used at Barcelona FC and Spain to try and brighten up the Red style. Magpie calls it quits. Collingwood Premiership player Ben Johnson has announced his retirement from AFL effective immediately. The Magpie played 235 games for the club and cited injury as the main reason for him retiring. Collingwood coach and former teammate Nathan Buckley urged Johnson to see out the year, but Johnson, whose last game was in round 3 against the Hawks, said that the stress of persistent shoulder and calf injuries has finally worn him down and he no longer has the drive to play AFL football. So Johnson only managed 11 games in the last 2 years. Wings clipped. The Crows are just about out of finals contention after going down to Collingwood on Friday night. So after leading at quarter time by 25 points, the Crows ended up losing, and also in the process losing Paddy Dangerfield, their main midfielder, who will be out for this week's crucial clash against Geelong at Amy Stadium with a shoulder injury. Okay, now headlines to watch out for. Bay's sack coach. So the Glenelg Tigers are in a bit of a form slump at the moment, having lost 8 straight games by an average margin of 63 points. So I expect in the next couple of weeks for Chris Massey to get his marching orders and for a new coach to be appointed ready for next year. Cohen and Stark to get axed for second test. So as we mentioned before, I think Ed Cohen and Mitchell Stark will be 2 casualties from the first test lost against the Poms. I think Jackson Bird and Usman Khawaja will come in for those 2. Chris Froome to make it back-to-back British titles. So as we mentioned before, Chris Froome's looking in a pretty good position in the Tour de France, and I think he'll take out the Tour de France title for 2013, making it 2 wins in 2 years for Britain, with Bradley Wiggins winning last year's tournament. And Von Berto to play on. There's much speculation that Natalie Von Berto may retire after the championship win by the Thunderbirds, but I reckon she's got a couple more good years in her, and I reckon she's still got the captaincy of the Diamonds, so I think that is a driving force as well as trying to take the Thunderbirds back-to-back. I reckon she'll play on. That concludes the Sporties Weekly headline wrap-up.